like they really perceive Latinos as a target market, like as a demographic that they want to market to. But it's important for us to recognize that they don't have our health in mind. They don't care if we get, they don't care if we get diabetes from eating their food. They don't care if we get all these kinds of diseases from eating their food. We've been sort of playing around with this, talking about like contemporary Latinos being this kind of target market, right? We're the Cheeto generation and the Frappuccino generation, where we're told like this is appealing to your tastes. Like the Frappuccino is so sweet and the fiery Cheetos are so sabroso, right? That we can hook you in. But again, to think about like those foods are like all chemicals, and what does it mean when they're saying, when they're selling you tapatio flavored corn chips, like that's not preserving your culture. Like think about, where the tapatio came from and where everybody used to make their own salsas and their own fermented chiles. And then what that would mean to learn to do that and develop it to your own taste. Not just like, oh, I have the bottle in my purse and so that means that that's who I am. Obesity is staged a certain kind of way of putting the blame on the people who are suffering from it and not the people who are producing the problem. And when you make it like the problem is obesity, you shift it from saying, well, the problem is the food supply, the problem is marketing, the problem is lack of regulation over what goes into people's food. Like, when you buy food and it has like a USDA panel on it, you think that means that like some government organization said that it's okay for you to eat this, and that's not true at all. That means that it's okay for you to buy this because they want to sell it to you, right? Mass-produced food that you buy in a box is not at all about whether it makes you stronger, it makes you healthier, it makes you feel good. It's about that you spend money on it. Nothing about our food system is about putting the needs of the people first, the needs of the health first, and everything about traditional foodways is about putting health first, right? Foods developed over decades or hundreds of years, centuries, or millennia, they developed based on if they nurtured people, if they made people stronger, if they made people healthy, if they gave people strength. That's what traditional foodways do. But the way that society is set up, it's really set up about the individual. Like, you should be willing to spend more of your money for organic food. You should be willing to pay more to shop at this grocery store to buy these pure foods. And food grown without chemicals, food that's not genetically engineered, food that's not produced with chemical fertilizers, that's what food is. Everything else is an artificial construction. One thing that we say is like, you can't decolonize your diet by yourself. Like, you can't like live in a capitalized society and say, oh, I eat healthy so I'm decolonized. It's like, well, if you're not helping other people eat healthy, you're not decolonized. We can liberate land, we can set up community gardens, we can protect heritage crops, we can recognize when people are stealing intellectual property and biological property and say like that's not right. So big agriculture will say, pay more for organic produce, but they make organic farming very much like conventional farming, right? Where you buy this fertilizer organic, you buy this pesticide organic, and then you can use that and still be labeled organic. Whereas like people who are growing it in their backyard and are squirting it with dish soap to get the bugs off, like that's really organic, but that people don't want to pay. Those people don't pay to get the organic certification. So it's like really important to recognize the difference between knowing who grows your food and accepting the labels of what's certified and what's not certified. When people talk about healthy eating, they'll talk about things like the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, right? Which foods when grown conventionally have more pesticides and which foods when grown conventionally have less pesticides for the end product, right? So maybe that means that I can eat, if I eat a conventionally grown avocado, used with commercial pesticides, I'll take in less of the pesticides than if I ate conventionally grown berries, which take in more of the pesticides. But when you think of it that way, you're erasing everybody in the food supply, so the workers are still having to work with the pesticides, whether or not the consumer is getting it in the food. So we need to protect all the people in that food supply and not just say, well, I'm going to buy it and it's not going to make me sick. Who cares if it made everybody else sick on the way